Do you feel that helping people is a big enough why to turn this into a full-time business?
Is, helping people a big enough why to keep moving forward. And obviously, if you've been growing your business, no matter what your rank is, if you just started or if you've been a coach for a while and you really haven't climbed up the ranks, you may have already felt some of the challenges or the frustration with wanting to keep putting yourself out there and also inviting people to be a part of what you have to offer to help them. That is something that is just the constant in the business, but it depends on where it is in your why, your deep seated why, as to why would you keep going forward. So this was a great question that she asked, because yes, I mean, helping people is definitely an amazing thing to do as a human, because it fulfills so many areas for us. When we help someone, it boosts our self-confidence, it helps our self-esteem, it gives us a sense of purpose, and it also then creates a domino effect. But what you also have to consider is that what you're doing as a coach doesn't mean that you have to do this as a full-time business. And I think that everyone has to get that permission that you don't need to be this uber star coach or a full-time coach to be a success. Success is defined, differently for each person. And what you got to define is really kind of what feels good for you. So, Zig Ziglar has said that, you'll get everything that you want in life if you keep helping other people achieve what they want in life. So if that's kind of like in the core of what you're doing, that when you are putting yourself out there, you're doing it because you really do want to help other people, and it's not for a self-serving purpose, to get success club. That's kind of the first thing. But, motivation is a muscle, and you have to be consistent with it, and it will tire out. And I would be lying if I didn't say I would have frustrations or just don't want to do it, because I've been a coach for almost 10 years now. And definitely it's a challenge, because it can feel like you're just repeating the same behavior over and over again, and you're not seeing the pace of growth that you would like to or expect. And definitely if you're, focusing a lot online on social media, that changes so much that we can't even depend on really what's happening out there. So this is something that you have to work on. And I wrote down some things just to make sure I'm staying on point, but it will wear on you. And what I have seen and experienced with coaches that lose their motivation or kind of lose their why in coaching is because they don't really focus on growing themselves. And I'm not talking just about personal development, but to kind of expand outside of the tunnel vision of what do you do as a coach. So sometimes you just get into this hamster wheel of another month, another challenge group, got to get it started, got to end one, another month, another challenge group, got to get it started. And, oh, did I hit Success Club? That constant repeat of the same things you keep hearing over and over again. The Success Club, I got a sponsor, and I got a challenge group. But that's not what coaching is all about. But you can get loss of motivation and not really want to move forward or really achieve anything if you focus solely on that. So I want to give you some points of, what can you do to kind of help develop more of why would you want to do this? First of all, helping people is definitely that happiness pill for our own self. And when you're doing that, this should be what you should always think about, because you're not going to get an immediate response from people when you go out there and put yourself out there. We would love it. It would be great if we just put something out on your Facebook and they're like, hey, Jesse, totally, I want to jump into your challenge group. And you got a ton of people messaging you. That would be amazing. But it doesn't happen that way. Mm-hmm. So I always kind of look at it this way with consistency. Every forward action that you're putting out there with helping someone, where you're answering a Facebook message from someone saying, I want to lose weight, but I have no money and I don't want to buy anything, but tell me all the secrets. What you want to think about is, I'm just going to offer some advice. I'm not saying you have to spend a ton of time. Offer advice. You keep putting the seeds out there. So it's all about seeds of happiness. But that will keep you forward in fulfilling and helping people, because you're just constantly putting the seeds out there. But here's what I got to share with you is you have to protect your positivity. And what I mean by that is because this can wear on you, and you can get negative, and you can get frustrated and complain about losing a customer to another coach. But you have to protect it because that's yours. and your positivity and your viewpoint of what are you doing and what are you spending your time on is so important. So if you're focusing on activity that you just don't like really, I mean, we don't really like sponsoring, going out and finding people to sponsor people, but that's part of the business. But if you're focusing on activity that you just don't agree with or don't really like, or it doesn't connect with you, you don't need to do that. This is your business. Define what kind of activity you want to do in your business. And for me, especially this past year, I've been really trying to declutter and remove a lot of negativity. And that includes unfollowing people from social media. I may not unfollow them, but I just don't watch their stuff anymore because their lifestyle might not be exactly what I align myself up with. I'm very family oriented and I really protect my time. We like to vacation as a family, and I don't want to align myself with other people that don't see that same value because that's not my person. So remove a lot of the negativity, and that includes family members or even in your real world. You don't need to always have long conversations with people who bring you down or are negative. You can easily move out of the conversations. That's your control. And my other advice, this is one that I learned a long time ago when I was working for Chalene Johnson and her company, Powder Blue Productions. I'm a quick responder, and it's mostly because I just want to get people their answers. But when I would respond to an email that would raise my heated emotion, should I say, I might respond back too negatively or too harshly. So my opinion and my advice is to always wait to respond. So if you have a negative response or something that you're just in a bad mood and you're checking email or messages, don't respond when you're in a bad mood or had a negative email because it's only going to come across that way. But your frustration and when you lose your motivation to help people because nothing seems to be working, frustration is going to come in. This is just life. This is just life. What I always suggest is rather than look at it as a negative, it's about your perception of how are you looking at that frustration. Frustration could be maddening because you did lose that customer, or could it be, okay, so that customer went over to that coach. What can I learn from this? So you have to change that perception of moving away from being frustrated about all you're doing and not seeing exact results to how can I learn from the results I'm not getting. And I'm going to just say, define deeper your target market, because you could be talking to all the people who just want everything free in life and never move forward with anything. And that probably isn't your target market. So as hard as it seems to say, really narrow down and define who you want to talk to. And I know this is my longest answer, by the way, because I feel it is important.
Right.
So if we're talking about your why and is helping people enough, to me, I don't think it really is for longevity. Every action I take in this business, it is because I need it to impact 5 years from now. I really don't take action in my business. And this has been how I've grown my entire business throughout the 10 years. I don't do something for immediate self-gratification results. And I have a lot of my coaches who still ask me about placements of CBCs and stuff. And we always have to look at what would this look like 5 years from now. So your overall purpose, when you say, I love helping people, we all do. But that's kind of the surface. And I say that myself. So as a fitness instructor, I've always, if you're a fitness instructor, you give so much of yourself and you don't get much return other than just that gratification. Well, what I always said is I really loved helping people achieve something or do something that they never thought possible. That's the reason why I would bust my butt all those weekends doing tons of certifications, meeting new people. It was hard work, back-breaking work, like literally. And that is kind of still my message. Like, I want to just keep helping people. People ask me all the time, so what's your next goal? Are you going to go for Superstar 3 or what are you going to achieve? No, because I'm not now working for a title or any of that anymore. That's my personal decision because I have done that. But my underlying purpose still is I just love helping people. So I'm not done yet doing that. I love helping people move forward towards their goals. But what you really need to define is that deep lying one. So when you're really trying to figure out what is the real reason you'll do this, even when you don't want to, or even when you're busy, or even when your kids are sick, why will you do this? Because helping people is happiness? It probably is going to go to the secondary side of your decision for the day. I've got a sick kid, but I love helping people. Well, that can go to the side. But there has to be a bigger reason, and it's got to be deeper inside of you. And for me, of course, it's more throughout the years. But what I would always say, and is say my deepest one, is I'm just kind of a control freak of my time and of my freedom and more of my income. So if I don't do the basic core activities, the 4 vital behaviors of this business every day, then I have to look at my deep lying why. Then if I don't do it, will I still have the opportunity to have complete control over every decision of my minutes of every day? Or if I don't do it, is there then risk to that? Which there would be. I would then possibly have to go back to traveling in the medical industry. I don't want to do that. I want to be with my kids. I want to be with my husband and my 3 labs. I want complete control over my time. And that's why it's hard for me to set appointments, because I hate appointments because it's not my control. But I understand this is life and I do need to be an adult. So that's the thing is just understand there's got to be something deeper. And I was talking with Jessie just right before about defining that. And one area we were talking about, and she thought this would be a great thing for you all to do, is to really define exactly why is your why important. So if you can think for yourself right now, just say it out loud, like in your head or to your neighbor, why are you coaching? If you thought, why am I actually doing this? Why do I stress myself out over this? Why?
That's a great way to put it. Like,
it is.
Why do we keep showing up? Yeah.
Yeah. And your follow-up answer to that, so you can say it, so for me, I could have started with what I always said, because I really like helping people achieve something they never thought possible. And the question you always have to ask after is, why is that important to me? And then you have to dig down and drill down deeper. And then when you answer to that question, you say that again. Why is that important to me? You have to do that, we say 5 times, Jessie, to really get down to the scraped bottom barrel of it. So when I would get down to the scraped bottom barrel, it's because I want complete control over my every minute of my day. I want to be able to go to the kids' school for any nonsense Valentine's party where I just sit there and look at them all. Like they're doing nothing, but we're out there. Mom is like the only parent in the room, but I'll be there. And that's what I want.
Yeah, that's great. That is great. So when you started, so it kind of sounds like when you started, maybe your why was a little different, and it kind of has changed throughout the kind of when you've seen what's possible with this business, it's kind of changed as you've gone along.
Completely. Yeah. When I first started as a coach, first of all, I was a no. Just I want to let everybody know. I was told about this business and I was a no. I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. Who wants to pay a monthly fee to get discounts on supplements? That's what I thought it was, because that's what was presented to me. The person that shared the business with me told me what I would do. And that's the worst thing you could do, because you can't assume what someone would do. Always just share a video and let them see themselves in what they would do. And then you discuss it. But I was told I would sell supplements. I'm like, I have a GNC card. I'm good. I don't need to do that. So I didn't really join till 1 year later. And that was when my friend and my mentor, and actually my boss, told me to do this. And that was Shalene. And that's why I took it seriously, because of course I trusted her and worked with her. But that when I first started, I loved my job. I loved working for her. I was full-time working for her, managing and training all the presenters and master trainers that we had on staff. I was her right-hand person for the certification and presenter side. I love that job. It was stressful, full-time job for me. But when I stood there on stage at my very first summit, which I just had my baby, and she was like 4 or 5 months old. So I was like post 4 or 5 months old with breastfeeding. Oh, it's horrible. And they asked me to speak on stage. I was like, really? Okay, how can I dress to not look horrible? But I had to speak about vision. And I remember so clearly speaking on stage to Summit of a grand amount of 2,000 people attending, because that's what it was back then, and said, I don't care how much money I make in this business. I will always still work for Shalene, and my husband has the choice of if he wants to do his job or not. But I will always work for Shalene because I just love doing this. Like that's what I thought my mission and my why was. Mm-hmm. It wasn't to bring my husband home, which by the way, that really irks me. Don't say that demeans a person. It's their choice. And you're not that person just because you're super successful with income that can define that. But that was what I thought. And I didn't know really the potential of this business. I wasn't doing it for money. I wasn't doing it for rank. So that did morph over time, because I really then decided, oh, okay, so now my husband's home. He doesn't work in IT anymore. Now what? Oh, Shalene sold her company. I no longer have that job anymore. Now what? So you have to have something more, and it's going to kind of reveal itself. It's going to change.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.